take more time from you.
How does being a former Olympic athlete, how does that carry into business? What did you learn? What are you applying to the business today that you take with from those days?
I've never been afraid to lose, and sports or business. But what I learn is to be honest with myself before I do something, to break it down and be honest with myself.
Welcome, Usama. Thank you.
Daniel.
Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
I appreciate your time. I've been really looking forward to this since we booked this up a few months ago.
Yeah.
So the day's finally come. And thank you for organising this amazing gym setup here we've got. There's some action going on in the background, I see.
Yeah.
So if we see any blood coming our way, then it's no problem, right?
Yeah, no. We would love some.
Yeah. What is the gym? Where are we? What's the?
We are in Kampsportstadion in
Right in the centre of Stockholm.
yeah,
basically.
center of Stockholm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful gym. Really.
Very, very nice gym.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's lots to talk about as always. I wanted to focus on your business Lobloo, and the Shopify store you have, and the journey up until this point that you're selling these incredible products that you've patented, and you're selling them all around the world, and also what led you to the business. It's not often you meet an Olympian, right? Olympic athlete, but you were in the Olympics twice.
Yeah, I was.
So it's a huge honor to be able to talk to somebody with such amazing credentials. And I didn't bring my gym kit today.
It's okay.
So
we can train. I'm used to take off my clothes and just train. So
yeah,
we can do it afterwards.
Okay, I conveniently forgot to bring my gym kit, so we'll have to do some training off camera.
No excuses.
Yeah. But yeah, let's if you could give us a bit of a background summary, like what's got you to here today? Like where did you start off?
How the idea of Lobloo came up?
Yeah, and then perhaps sort of stitch that in with your history really, which is inspiring.
Yeah, I was in the Olympics 2 times in wrestling, 92 and 96. And then I always had this inspiration of boxing. So when I wanted to quit after the Olympic 96, I quit wrestling and I started boxing. So actually my aim was to do the Olympic in boxing. And I could say I was close because I did join the national team in Sweden in boxing.
Okay.
But maybe I was 1 or 2 years. I should need more 1 or 2 years more, and I wasn't up for waiting for another Olympics. So
what's easier, wrestling in the Olympics or boxing in the Olympics?
it's like two different sports. It's wrestling is more.
I should say, what's easier on the body, maybe?
Oh, easier on the body. It's easy to answer. It's boxing. It's
Okay.
it's like a dance. Boxing. It's take on your body, but wrestling is like there are no things in wrestling that you do that isn't tough for your body.
Right.
You're
engaged with your opponent constantly.
So there are no easy moments in wrestling, and probably that's why they say wrestling is. I don't know where it comes from, but they say like wrestling is named to be the hardest sport in the world, and I think there is some truth in it.
Cross-country skiing and wrestling, and you have them both right here in Stockholm. So
that could be it.
The 2 toughest sports.
Yeah.
Okay, so from wrestling and your background in martial arts, is that mixed martial arts as well?
Yeah, because after boxing I did join 5 years of MMA, mixed martial arts. Yeah, and then 34 years of competing have gone. So
Okay.
yeah.
But you're still very much in the sport, and that takes us into the business, really. Lobloo, tell us about that. There's a clue in the name.
Yeah, there is a clue in the name. Lobloo is like for a low blow, so everyone should know what kind of product it could be if they would guess.
Yes.
So so that's the name. Is Lobloo, and actually it come up because when I did the boxing, I wear a groin protection, but they are kind of bulky and they don't fit good. But in boxing, you don't move the same way you do as in MMA. In MMA, it's more up and down. It's wrestling, so you are like more keen to have something that fits and feels good when you do MMA. It's the
most versatile, I guess. You don't know what your opponent's going to be skilled at, and you've got to be prepared for everything. So all movements.
Yeah,
apply.
all movements, and when you, the most troubling thing to have a groin protection between your legs is when you come to the wrestling part, because the one I found on the market, they were very loose. They didn't fit. They were just so uncomfortable, and I'm a person that have very hard time to focus on what I do when I have something on me that feels uncomfortable.
Right.
So I was like, after buying 3 or 4 different types of groin cup, I was like, I don't know if I can do MMA anymore, because it takes too much time to think about this thing between my legs.
Right.
So it was actually through a friend who have done our own constructions that this idea came up. And
so years of, like, they call it scratching your own itch, which in the context of this product might look
it's actually true in this point.
So you solved the problem yourself, basically. The products on the market weren't doing it for you, and that you thought, right, I'm going to design my own product.
Yeah, because when my friend had that homemade construction, he made one for me, and I was like, wow, is this how it should feel? I mean, this is amazing. I was so impressed with it, so I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I was like, see how I mean, why isn't this out on the market? Is there something that we can develop?
Right.
So he and me actually started a business together, and long story short, I'm alone right now in the business.
And you're selling these personal protection. Is that the best way to describe it? Personal protection products.
Yeah, we describe them as like a genital protection. Everyone knows what a genital is, and that worries more because groin protection is more a male thing. You think it's only for male, but we do females, kids. So we use the word genital protection because it's for all.
And how common is it when you're wrestling or fighting for you to take one between the legs, or how often does that happen?
Too often.
Okay.
Yeah, it's. It's the one you are sparring with doesn't do it in purpose, but when you get tired, your focus is lacking.
Yeah.
So it's so much easier to make this wrong decision how you kick or punch or
Yeah. But this is a huge industry because it's not just fighting.
No.
I mean, I remember back in the days learning cricket in England. That was one of the sports they forced you to do. Kind of find it kind of boring.
Yeah.
But we played it, and I remember as kids, you would get like a bag of protection guards like chucked in, and you had to just take one, and it felt gross because you knew some people just put them straight on, like down the pants. But taking a cricket ball in the genitals is seriously dangerous. Like that'll end your father or mother career potentially. But what other sports are we talking about here?
Yeah, there's You have like baseball, hockey, boxing, all the martial arts sports, and also biking. Now when the extreme biking, mountain biking has
downhill.
Yeah,
I've had a saddle. I've gone over the saddle before, and
skating. They do a lot of tricks where they...
Yeah, snowboarding, skiing maybe. You could get when they do those acrobatic maneuvers, you get a pole or a ski.
It could be. Nothing that I experience right now, but...
You're not flying through the air on your skis yet?
No.
There's plenty of time for that.
And another big market is... if you look in the military, the police, the riot,
yes,
it's also a huge market where we're working on right now.
Wow, fantastic! So it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah, it's so big. When you talk about growing protection, Addtocart or something, it's like.
At first, you think that's a niche product.
Small product, but like, there is. A lot of people that don't use them that should use them because that there is a lot of knowledge in how to use them and if you should use them.
I mean, I love these kinds of businesses where on the surface you think, oh, that's a quirky product, there's some customers, and then you start digging in and you think, oh my word, this is multi-billion, this is multi-sport demographic, nationalities, like different. There's so much potential for this business. It's so exciting.
Yeah, it's huge.
And how do you like you sell online in a Shopify store?
Yeah.
You also sell to law enforcement agencies. Is that a good way you do that too? To the police and things?
Yeah, I have some customers today in Canada and US and here in Sweden, of course.
And then you have a reseller network as well. I assume you sell to businesses who then sell to their customers.
I've been setting up my stores on Shopify and Amazon.
Yeah, okay, so, that's been your focus.
Yeah, so I haven't had time to focus on the retailers. I get emails when people want to carry my brand.
Yeah.
And as long as they don't sell it on the open platforms, they can retail it. But
but you like to have the direct relationship with the customer, if you can.
Yeah, that's my aim.
Yeah, that's a longer term game, but it's definitely more sustainable, and then you're not relying on other people selling your product for you.
That's correct.
You and there's more margin in it for you that way, and you have more marketing budget and that kind of thing to look after your customers directly. Yeah,
and that was the big reason why I rebuilt my Shopify store and started advertising with Shopify, because when I sold. I'm a big seller in Amazon, but we had this thing that where they closed my listings because I just could see that the reason was that they say my products is a pesticide case. You cannot sell pesticide things in US if you're not resident in US. And I was like,
so protectionist.
I have to go to Google Translate and see what pesticide was, and I was like, I don't have any chemicals in my.
No, it's a thing they do to stop you competing with US companies. I guess I suspect your major competitors are US based.
Yeah, and the issue was that in my listing I had something that our cup is washable. It prevents from. Building up bacteria, and the algorithm felt bacteria, and it closed all my listings. So I have. This is a quite fun story now when everything is like fixed, but it was closed almost 6 months, and 85% of my selling came from US.
Oh my word!
So I was like.
Instantly shut off the sales.
Yeah, and I opened cases with customer service in Amazon and asked, but I don't have any pesticide, and they just closed my case. They didn't answer them. So I was like, I can't rely on this market anymore.
Yeah, the lesson for the customer is, or the lesson for anybody listening to that story is. Like, don't be beholden to one platform. Like, there's a risk. These giant organizations that give you that freedom to sell, but ultimately they control you so much. Whether it's Facebook, Google, Amazon, like if you're all in on those platforms, even Instagram, then things can change so quickly, and you find yourself losing customers or sales like overnight.
So it was my exactly what you're saying. It was what I felt. I felt I have to have more control of my customers. I was a bit lazy because I had the Shopify store, but I didn't invest in it,
right?
Because I was lazy in. I'm so good. I'm selling so good in Amazon, so.
Well, you can get quicker results if you do these things short term, but the exposure long term is huge. So investing in the Shopify store where you have a direct relationship with the customer is the way to make your business sustainable.
And in the end you can reach out as good as Amazon does with the Shopify store.
For sure.
Yeah.
How do you find working with the Shopify platform?
Very, very good. I mean, I actually don't have anything to compare with because I had a platform from someone that built my site and run everything before. I can't remember the name, but then I changed to Shopify, and I mean they have good support. Right? Yeah, they have good support.
Your response is the one I get a lot because nobody has any issues with it. The fact that you don't have anything to say about it is a good sign, because normally when you say, "Oh, how's this platform working?" Like, "Oh, this doesn't work. This doesn't work." But it's the great thing about Shopify is it does what it's meant to do. Yeah. And there's millions of retailers selling through it every day. So you have that mass of experience going into the platform, and it's built by retailers for retailers. So you can feel that in the design and the way it
absolutely. So what isn't in Shopify isn't anywhere else. So it's because I did a lot of reviews on the big platform before I decided Shopify. So that was my conclusion, that they have everything, and if there is something missing, they will add it.
It's the other platforms are built by technology people, not by retailers, and it really shows when you're actually using the product. The way orders are laid out, the way everything is intuitively organized, you can get through to products and orders and customers' details so easily. It's a dream.
It is.
Particularly at the stage you're at, where you have this huge growth potential, and your time is so limited, and you're at that growth paradox where you want to invest more in the business, but you need more sales to do that. And you cannot spend all your time talking to developers and designers saying, "I want this to work like this on the line." You've got to be all in on marketing.
Yeah, correct.
And that's what Shopify gives you, the freedom to know that it just works. I'm glad to see that it's working out well for you.
Yeah, it is, and but there is always something that you can improve. So it's. I mean, if you have a platform that this is it, then it's you can get lazy because you don't have more tools to work with. But in Shopify, it's there are almost too much, so you don't know where to invest the time in.
Right, and then this really now for you is about marketing, and you have all of these different sports. I mean, just one of these sports would be a huge opportunity, but you're looking at 5 to 10 different sports that have a different demographic, a different customer base. How do you approach marketing the business?
Now I'm playing around, and also one of the reasons how we got in contact it was that I found Addtocart, how you work, and I do Google Ads now, and I see improvement of doing it. But I also noticed that it's a very big. It's competitive to do ads on the internet, so you have to have a lot of knowledge in doing it. Otherwise, you're just going to spend a lot of money in getting clicks or impressions, but that actually doesn't convert to any sales.
Yes.
So that's the hardest part.
Yeah, for sure. And there's so many things you can do, and it's really picking one or two things and doing those well. And doubling down on the success. I see a lot of companies your size struggling because they know they need to do these new platforms, whether it's TikTok or LinkedIn, they know, but they just don't have the time. So they end up doing a little bit of everything, or they do the opposite and just do one thing. Like Instagram is very common. You see people who have gone all in on Instagram. But now the organic growth on Instagram has pretty much vanished. So how do you transition to the new platforms to seize the opportunity for growth there? It's an extremely difficult challenge when you're designing new products, you're keeping fit, and you've got a life, you've got a family. How do you find the time to do all the different marketing channels? It's a real challenge.
Yeah, and I actually don't like getting the right time to do what I would like, and it's also about the fee or the money, because even if I sell good, I'm always develop new things. I extend my storage, so I put a lot of money to just have a. So it's very hard. So every time I'm gonna do, like if I'm gonna do a video ads or something on YouTube or something, I have to like think of, it's a balance of investment and not maybe getting any sales, but getting knowledge to people.
Yeah.
And always think about the long term. And that's a hard balance, because you always want to sell.
Yes.
At the same time, you want to knowledge people in your brands or products.
Yeah. How do you feel about this? Because I see people doing this too. Is they're selling on these platforms. Really, it's not marketing. They call it marketing, but it's you're selling. You need results. You need to post something on Instagram today, and tomorrow 5 orders come in. That's really what people are after, because they need that growth. But these platforms aren't really for sales. Like, that's not really how in 2021 you drive performance. You've got to give people a reason to click now. Like, it's not before. It was if a nice picture of a river with some mountains in the background came up on your Instagram feed, you clicked on it or you liked it. Now that stuff's just like whatever, like you scroll on. What people are looking for now is content that educates or entertains them. If you can do both of those things, then you're Joe Rogan. But one of the two things, you've got to educate people about your business, your products, in a patient way, right? In an authentic way. It takes time to do that. So I talk to customers a lot about how to do that. In fact, this podcast is my version of it in my business, where I'm trying to add value back to my customers. I'm not asking them to buy anything or sell anything. I'm just talking authentically with an amazing person who's got a great story. And then I share that, and I break it up into small pieces of content. So we'll have a 30, 40-minute conversation. I'll break that up into maybe 10 small clips, which I can then push out and attract people into the main YouTube version of the video podcast. And then that gives people a reason. Like, I'm giving them some value in the day. Hopefully I'm going to inspire them and maybe help with using your story, help them to maybe push forward with their own dreams, and as you've done.
And I'm a very big believer in exactly what you're describing that you are doing now, and also that caught my interest when you and me talked about marketing, and you was talking about this cutting these small clips from doing like a podcast, right, or video clips, because what I see or what I think is that people want a product, they want to understand it very fast, but they also want it to be personal. They want I want to know this company or this person, right, or who actually made this and some story behind it, but at the same time they don't have the time to put in to get this information, so they want it very easy. So the tricky point is to how can I give this small doses of information, and that is what you are referring to take out those clips,
the moments, the special
moments, and share it. And hopefully that drives them to your channel.
But you're in both games. You're in the short, quick dose of something, but you're also in the long form game, because there's plenty of people that would want to listen to the 30, 40-minute story. They might be cycling or running. I take in on my podcast when I'm running, or on the train on the way home or whatever. So actually long form content is on the up, like massively. I mentioned Joe Rogan. You know, his podcast lasts for 3 hours usually. So and it's the most listened to podcast on earth. So there's a craving for content, for story, quality conversations, just as much as there's a craving for those anecdotal moments that you just want to quickly see on TikTok, have a little smile and get on with your day. But by doing this kind of thing, you're in both games.
Yeah.
So it's more work in some respects, but it's quality. So you get that back, I think, from your audience.
Yeah, and I also think as a like owner and when you run your own brands, it's like I made those products personal. Right. I have like a lot of memory. I could share hours how I develop all these small details.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm positive for this new trend that where people like get the personality on the products and the brand.
Yeah.
And not buying things because this is something I need. I buy this one.
Yeah.
They buy it because there is a reason and understanding.
Yeah, and clearly it's not, you know, there's so many businesses out there now that are just in it for the money or just in it for the profit. I mean, this product goes to your heart. This is something you've developed over many years. It's very personal to you, literally in the genitals. You've been injured. I can only imagine how many times you've been injured in your career. And every injury carries with it scars. And you know that this product is going to help people, save people, around the world with their particular sports. And that's a real, you're having an impact, man. That's it's more than a product.
Yeah. And so that is one of the reasons why I'm still in this process, because you could see from a big picture, like I have a lot of products now. The sales are starting to get up. We had this COVID-19 problem, but we see some lighting up now. So but I started it like almost 7 years ago. Yeah. And it's more since 1 year back or something like that people are like understanding my product, understand that they are different from the other products, and so it takes time. But it does. Yeah, but I feel this is so good products, and it will be benefit for a lot of people that have the same feeling as I did. Yeah. So that is what's keeping you continue with your business. Yeah. And sooner or later it pays off. That's for sure. So if you were giving some advice, say the 25-year-old version of you, you've got a passion and you're thinking of doing something online with Shopify, what advice would you give to the younger version of yourself, about selling online? They're all what I can see two ways to do it. Either you pick the product you want to sell and you contact the manufacturer or the one who owns the brand and see if you can have them in your Shopify store, or you have an ID. You start to work with the ID. You just be honest with yourself, because I think honesty is a word we can relate to, but what I see, we maybe don't understand the thing with honesty, because honesty is to break your ID into pieces where you still think that this is something that's going to sell. Right. This is something I can do. But if you just think this is going to be very great, I'm going to do it, you're going to spend a lot of time and money in something that will take more time from you. How does being a former Olympic athlete, how does that carry into business? What did you learn, and what are you applying to the business today that you take from those days? I've never been afraid to lose, and sports or business. I mean, but what I learn is to be honest with myself before I do something, to break it down and be honest with myself. but I never had a fear of losing things, and
Wow,
that's why I done maybe over 2,000 wrestling fights, because you have to go up and understand that you can lose every time, but if you believe in what you do, you will take the next fight and you will probably win.
Right, and surprise yourself.
Yeah, so yeah.
Oh, that's solid, man. I totally get that. And it's patience, right? I mean, I can only imagine the hours of training you must have done. And running a business, it's hours of training. Like, to get successful, like we talked about with the different platforms, you don't become successful in your first Facebook ad or your first TikTok post.
No, and it's like, if I have a very big salary and my company goes good, you're gonna like, I'm gonna run my own business, I can have this salary. But all the years you spend in hours that no one see, no one give you feedbacks on, it's just you and this ID.
It's a pretty bad salary.
Yeah, it's a really bad salary. Yeah. So you have to have passion for it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that makes so much sense. I know what you mean. Like, it's when you really add up the thinking time as well into that.
Yeah, I think
lying in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, thinking about your next competition or what you're doing in the business, what you need to do tomorrow, next week, the month after. Those hours add up, and yeah, there's no salary that can really repay that.
I think it's a lot of own running business that laughs now because you could relate to it, I relate to it, so
I think it's why you see these people that don't want to sell their business. Like, someone comes along and says, how much do you want, and how many zeros do you want to put on, and you go, I go for 7 zeros, and I go, I'll give you 8. They're like, I changed my mind. And they're like,
yeah, it's not about selling the company anymore. It's more like you selling yourself. And I don't want to sell myself.
And it's the things you can't see in the business that the owner is like, no, this is too much time. This is too personal. Too much blood, sweat, tears have gone into this. I don't want someone to take it over from me, even if they write a huge check. So it kind of makes sense the way you describe it, that you see that in when companies come to sell, that it's quite a common thing. But what's going on in this gym right now? Is there? It looks like a fitness class. But
it's a salsa class.
Okay, could these be customers? Could these be customers for Lobloo?
I hope they are.
Salsa could be dangerous.
I hope they are covered with Lobloo. Otherwise, they will feel pain.
Okay, but dangerous salsa. There's a skipping rope there, so that could be dangerous. But
everything in a martial arts center is dangerous.
Yeah, I can only imagine you have a research and development department, and if you need someone to be in the department, I'd be more than happy to be your I'll stand there like that, and you can have someone test the products. I believe in the product so much that I'm willing to put my genitals up for research.
For a test.
Testicles. I don't know. You don't need to pay me for that either, but we'll see. But listen, man, I really appreciate you making the time to do this podcast. I wish we could talk for longer. Maybe we'll do another one again soon. But is there any last thoughts or anything you want to share?
No, I'm glad we had this talk, and we've been talking before, and we can talk a lot. So I'm thankful for this conversation too.
Me too, and I'm hoping that we can do more work together, and let's see what we can do 2021.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, good man. Thanks so much.
Okay,
really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Daniel.
Take care.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.